please don't let the other side confuse you. This is not about legal immigration. There's a difference between legal immigration and illegal immigration. The topic tonight, which the vote's supposed to be on, is illegal immigration, undocumented workers, if you want to call them that, but illegal immigration. That's the issue. And that's the principle that I'm in favor of stopping. And there are three reasons, basically, and I want to elaborate on each in a moment. The first is that illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. There are people who lose and lose in big ways, and these are the most vulnerable people in our society, not the privileged, not the well-off, whom government does a pretty good job of protecting, but the most vulnerable, the unskilled, the poorly educated, the poorly trained, disproportionately youth, disproportionately minority, disproportionately women who bear the competition with illegal immigrants, and they're hurt very badly. Just because some people win and other people lose doesn't mean it's on the average nothing happens. It has a very detrimental impact on those who lose. Secondly, I want to talk about in a moment, illegal immigration does erode one of the basic pillars of this society, the rule of law. And when we make mockeries of our laws, we encourage cynicism about the society in which we live in. What's the sense of passing laws if nobody obeys them? And lastly, I want to talk about the fact that illegal immigration exposes in a very obvious way the seamier side of our wonderful democracy, the willingness of some to tolerate the exploitation of human beings in our society, to find some ways to rationalize it. And the failure to stop these sores allows them to fester and make conditions in this country much worse. It breeds cynicism about what our really core values of this nation are. But before I elaborate on those, I want to say briefly how I got involved with this. I became involved in this when I was a very young professor teaching at the University of Texas, when a man named Cesar Chavez came through Austin on a way to try to organize farm workers in South Texas in 1966. I joined with that movement. I went down to the border for the first time. I was not a Texan. I saw the border, and I knew right away the first day I was on the picket line that this strike was lost. We were overwhelmed by strikebreakers. And to this day, those people are still not organized in South Texas. And for most years in the 60s and 70s, there was no greater spokesman for ending illegal immigration in this country than Cesar Chavez, who sued the Carter administration for its unwillingness to enforce immigration laws before we even had employer sanctions. Just trying to say these people shouldn't be in here. That was Chavez's line. And he believed it very strongly in those days when he was actively trying to organize farm workers. And he certainly made a big impression on me for the rest of my life. It's also the case that I believe the position that we are arguing is supported by the overwhelming balance of research and findings about the adverse impact of illegal immigration on individuals and on our society. I want to elaborate on the 3 points now. First of all, with respect to adverse impact, there are 90 million, it's a newspaper article just in last week's Ithaca Journal, 90 million people and our adults in a population of the United States who have only a high school diploma or less. 90 million. That's half of the adult population of the entire country. Of that number, 50 million are in the civilian labor force. Almost 1/3 of the labor force has only a high school diploma or less. The problem this country faces, as this article discusses very clearly, is we have an oversupply of unqualified people in the country. It's not that we have a shortage of unskilled workers, that we need undocumented workers. And that oversupply are the group that are adversely affected by illegal immigration. Those are the people overwhelmingly who are adversely affected in terms of their wage depression and limited opportunities. They're the ones who have to compete with illegal immigrants for jobs. And that's the ones we would be concerned with. The people that have the highest unemployment rates. The highest unemployment rates in the United States are those people in the high school grades or high school less cohort. The unemployment rate is almost 6% for people without high school diplomas, and for those people, some groups, even blacks without high school diplomas, so it's 12% right now. It's hard to make any argument that there's a great shortage of unskilled workers when the highest unemployment rates in the United States are held by those who have the lowest level of education, just what we'd expect, but the other side makes it as if there's a great shortage of unskilled workers in this country that would document it, that would warrant the coming of undocumented workers. That is absolutely not true. Absolutely not true. This labor market is in surplus, and that's the problem. Why income levels at the bottom don't go up, wages at the bottom don't go up, why income distribution in this country is coming increasingly skewed toward greater inequality. That's a very dangerous thing for a society to have happen to it. We all know that if undocumented workers were pouring into the professional elite ranks of this country, if they were coming into the professor ranks or the lawyer ranks or the doctor's ranks or the business executive ranks, this issue would have been solved a long time ago. We wouldn't even be here tonight. We'd all understand very clearly that the undocumented workers coming into the legal profession or the doctor profession, 500,000 a year, was not good for the doctors in this country or the lawyers in this country who have to invest in their education and training and all the rest of it to get them those positions. Undocumented, not legal immigrants, but undocumented illegal immigrants. But somehow when it comes to low-wage workers, low-skilled workers, farm workers, maids, yardmen, and all the rest of these things, landscapers and restaurant employees and hotel employees, people forget about the laws of economics. That increasing the supply of these workers when you have unemployment already, have high unemployment rates already in those markets, can only depress wages and working conditions and make conditions worse for those at the bottom of our society. So again, this is the first reason. Illegal immigrants will always win in the competition for jobs. They become preferred workers. It's not that U.S. citizens will not do these jobs. Employers don't want them. Illegal immigrants will always work for the longest hours, the lowest paid, and the worst working conditions because no matter how bad conditions are in this country, they're infinitely better than they are in the country that they came from. Remember, 2 billion people on this planet today earn less than $2 a day. 2 billion. Half of all the workers in the world today, that's what they make. So any condition in this country is way better than what they have had from most of the countries that they've come from. So in the competition for jobs, they will always be a preferred worker if employers can have them. My view is they should not be allowed to have access to that supply of labor. And that's what our law says. That's what our law requires. It's just we don't enforce our laws. Secondly, the issue of the rule of law. Illegal immigrants, those who enter without inspection or overstay visas, are committing criminal misdemeanors. If they overstay their visa, if they've been deported and come back in, it's a felony offense. But we don't enforce the laws. They get away, so there's little risk really in actually violating those laws. Since 1986, illegal immigrants who come to the United States are not required to work, but they do work. Again, the laws that are not being enforced. I'm way behind, I guess, on what I want to say. It's illegal to use false documents. It's illegal to use somebody else's identity. It's illegal to use someone else's social security number. All those things have criminal offense, but then nobody applies the laws. How many laws do these people are entitled to violate without people become cynical about our rule of law? Driver's licenses, social services, all the rest of it. The last point I wanted to make was about the fragileness of our democracy. This exposes the senior side of it by allowing illegal immigration to go on. It gives tacit approval to their presence in our society and to human smugglers and abusive employers and unsafe working environments, and all those things are going hand in hand with illegal immigration. The result is to encourage millions to keep coming.
Speaking for the resolution, Vernon Briggs, thank you very much.
Much more to say.